So, dear Dharma friends, when it comes to this meditation practice, one thing that you have to be very clear. So, our purpose is not to create something in our mind, but to come out of these all things. So, the mind itself is our past. So, our past is come with the thoughts. So, the past mean it belongs to time. And as mental formations, all the roots, all the seeds we carry within us. So wherever we go, we have power to regenerate whatever the sensual pleasure with eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. So wherever in this samsaric journey, even though this outside nature is different, mostly we experience the same thing. It's finally we experiencing our own mind again and again, again and again. It's like reflecting ourselves. We just live with our own shadow. So the meditation itself helps us to come out of this shadow and how you can live without the shadow. Because we always have a feedback. We don't see it. And name of living, we keep chasing and we keep following that feedback. And sometimes deeply, from ancient time, people used to shut down certain kind of activities, thinking, and they can make their mind free from everything. But deeply when we observe, just shutting down the activities itself not enough. Because the mind is the Purana, mind is the creator, mind is the chief. Even the mental thought, the mental habit, the thoughts that come in our mind, it itself has power to create the life. So if you don't recognize the very nature of the thought or the mind, just shutting down action itself doesn't make any sense. And you cannot tell, I don't do this, I don't do that, and because of I am a good person. You don't see the very nature of your mind. So then you have to see why you don't do it. That is where you can question your mind. If you don't do something, question yourself. Why I don't do it? What is the very core reason behind it? And then you will see there are many reasons sometimes. And because of that you think other people believe it is not good and that's why I don't want to do. Or maybe I'm going to get punished, that's why I don't want to do it. Or maybe I'm going to lose something, that's why I don't want to do it. Or maybe people will start to look me kind of like a bad person, that's why I don't want to do it. So like that, you deeply recognize reasons, but you never recognize the doing part itself. You have power and itself that your doing part is activated. And because of the outside reasons, you just shut down it for a moment. So the meditation is deeply you go into that and you recognize the very behavior, very nature of the thoughts. And just remember, just stopping actions doesn't mean that everything going to be stopped. Why? Because there are certain reactions also, result also. And in the samsaric journey, whatever we have done, and maybe suddenly you just stop that everything today, your bodily action, and you think, oh, I don't do anything. That how about the result? on the way that keep coming towards us. So what you going to do for that? And then how this result going to catch you? Because now you don't do any action, and maybe just think that 20 years you don't do that action, but still how that before 20 years, whatever you have done, how that action can come and catch you? Because deeper level in your mind, in your heart, in your body, wherever, in the deeper, you have the seeds. That seeds come as mental formations, which we call sanskara. So through the meditation, you able to get into that. Because visualizing, following something, getting help from something, or listening to somebody, or following a guru, chanting, you cannot get into the sanskara. You can just come out of the certain kind of difficulties, and there are certain comfort when you practice that things, nothing wrong with it. But the thing is, you cannot get into the depth. So through meditation, little by little, once you understand, you can get into the depth. So how you can get into the depth? Then what you see there? So our body, our mental formations, our sanskara has power to create the life. So once it become alive, we get this body. Once we have the body, we have this eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. So to come this all, you need certain thoughts. Without thoughts, this is not going to appear. So that's why as a past result, as a result of your previous thoughts, you get this eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. Now you have it. So once you have it, how you can get into the depth of the thoughts? Now you know this all came out of the thoughts. So then when you go to the depth, the very epicenter, the beginning point, the foundation, you start to see. So the thought itself start to come out different ways. So the thoughts can come out, thoughts can represent as this body. That's why this body reform like this way again and again, again and again. So that this body is a result of the thoughts. So one way. There are some other, it's a result of the food, and it's a result of 4 elements. But the depth, the most powerful thing is the thoughts. So once you have the thoughts, that you get this body. And once you have the body, you get this eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. And then once you have it, there is something. So then you have ability to have contacts through perceptions. And with the perception, when you have the contacts, there is feelings arise. So the feelings arise related with the thoughts. So now our very purpose is getting to the thoughts. So now see, once you recognize feeling, that means you recognize the thoughts. When you observe the very nature of the feelings, what you're going to see? You're going to see the very nature of the thought. And how thought can disappear. The itself, seeing the thoughts, when you become very conscious and recognizing the thought itself, and that is the moment that thoughts going to become powerless. So when you recognize any pain as exactly pain, that recognition is the itself pain killer for that pain. This is through practice you have to see this. Even for when you deeply recognize this, for anger, when you deeply recognize you are angry is the the solution for your anger, the first solution, the beginning point, what I'm telling, that after that you can do many things, but the beginning point is for the pain, any pain, when you recognize it as the pain and very nature of the pain, once you understand and that recognition become the painkiller. For the anger, when you recognize the I'm angry, that recognition itself becomes the solution for the anger. And the greed, where is the itself, when you recognize, not others saying, or not you guess, not you think, when you deeply recognize with your own behavior, you are greedy, that recognition itself is the solution for the first solution for the greed. All the lustful desire, when you recognize yourself that you have the lust and the desire, that recognition itself detach you from it. See, now the only thing is to get into that recognition, you have to follow the method. So that method, that pattern is the meditation. So once you come to that level, it is possible. Because you came out of this soul, this came out of like this because of your mind, and you do this everything because of your mind, and you have ability to see the mind. So the see the mind, the very first thing, you have to detach from thoughts. Why? Because the thoughts come as a result of past habit or the patterns or the behavior. So once you come out of the thoughts, that means not to react to thoughts and stay focused to one. So in the beginning, you need the mental object to practice this. That's why you practice certain the methods, certain way, observing inhalation, exhalation, or pain, or contemplating the mind. So anything, you need something. And once you follow it little by little, little by little, little by little, your mind able to exist without past thought. It slow down. And it come to a point to exactly, directly contact with the feelings without previous thought. In that very moment, when you able to recognize that thoughts, in the moment it appear, in the depth of that thought, you have the feelings, in that depth of that feelings, you have power to see the thoughts. That is the root. When the day you able to see the root itself, seeing itself, that root's going to disappear. So that means you have no reaction for the sensation. If you react for the sensation, it's like you watering to the thoughts. You watering to the thoughts. So, or this happened to your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, all. So when this everything come together, it's like a huge current. But slowing down your reaction and observing and know that the finding out, analyzing your sensation is the way, little by little, little by little, you can go into the depth. In that depth, in the beginning, there is a gap. In the beginning, there is a gap. An observer and something to observe. Object and subject. The subject is your mind, object your inhalation, exhalation. From ancient time, many other religions, and they talk about this observer is eternal. So whatever you observe as a object is can change, but the subject eternal. So that's why the different religion name this observer, the self or the soul, going to be forever. But what the Buddhism talk about, the object arise as a part of the subject. Because without mind, there is no sensation arise. Without mind, there is no observer arise. This both come as a result of the same subject. So the thing is, then listen very carefully, get it very carefully. So then now you observe the sensation or the pain or the breathing or the thoughts or the very nature of the mind, body. Kayanupassana, Vedananupassana, Chittanupassana, Dhammanupassana. So those are the four methods that you can contemplate and you can observe deeply to recognize the very self, what this is. So somehow, if you observe deeply, that just take the inhalation, exhalation or the pain. Now there is a subject, the observer, that's mean you, your consciousness, your awareness, and the object is the breathing or your pain or your mind or your bodily nature. And now you're observing and deeply you start to recognize the very nature of the very behavior of the object. The very behavior, whatever it is, according to this four method, when you go deeper, finally you recognize only the change. So now observer as a subject, recognizing this object, then the observer yourself, once the recognize the change. So what the vipassana means, you start to understand the observer also, the subject also, the result of object. So then when you recognize the object is changing, and that wisdom naturally and get connected to the subject, and itself in that very moment you have power to recognize the subject also, the moment by moment, according to the behavior of the object, this subject also moment by moment, moment by moment change. And that is what the Buddha said. But most say, so now you are subject, you are eternal, you are soul, your consciousness not changing, only this outside world changing, and you recognize this, but still this recognizer going to be forever, and maybe after you die, it going to go somewhere and rest in peace and for eternity. So like that they have different ways. But this very practical method that you have to use, not just believing something, but in this very lifetime, you can experience this and recognizing. Only thing is, once you recognize this, the object, how it is changed, in that very moment you're going to recognize how the subject also change according to the object. But to do this, when it's like this, when you look at the mirror, and sometimes you just correcting that lot of things, but in that very moment your attention is to correct something. But when you look at the mirror, if you start to see, become conscious, to know this is you, in that very moment there is you shift your consciousness to different level. You can try it at home. When you look at the mirror, rather than just fixing something or try to correct something, just observe yourself. This is you. This is the this is who you are, this is a reflection of you, and observe a little bit in that very moment, right away, rather than for trying to pick certain things, your consciousness start to get into you. So same like when you observe the change, that itself, when you recognize that change, there is a moment you need the effort to see, look back, and in that very moment see, according to this change, according to the object, and change moment by moment, moment by moment, this subject also moment by moment, moment by moment change. In that very moment you come out of this, the pattern or the organized mind, and that is the moment that your transformation happens. So by practicing slowly, little by little, you can do it. And to do this, you have to have certain kind of effort, you have to have certain kind of strength and the will inside you. You have to have all the tools to push towards that way. So that's why when you practice this, and little by little, the very first thing that you have to do, little bit slow down yourself and take time, take care of yourself, do some exercise, and keep the balance eating, because you need the strength. This mental strength is more stronger than you think. It's like when you have certain difficulties, mental difficulties, look how weak you feel. All the creativity disappear. Mentally you feel tired, physically you feel tired. It doesn't matter how strong you are. So you need to practice this mental practice, you need the strength. You need physical strength, you need mental strength. You have to have the balance day-to-day activities. So, and always you keep the give the priorities to this practice, and that way you can get it. Otherwise, just once a while sit and do something, or thinking something, or do whatever you want to do, and having that emotional blast in your life, and then the next day you sit for meditation. You cannot do this. The reason, you can just have some kind of like a mental uh, comfort, but what I'm telling here, to get into the point, to the depth, and you have to be more focused and more strong, little by little, little by little, little by little, and get it. So as a human being, that is one of the beautiful experience, a beautiful journey that you can go, and that is the highest that you can go in this journey. So it is up to you to choose that path. If you select that path, and little by little, little by little, try to practice yourself. So with that, I bless upon everyone. With this good practice, may all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you, may no difficulties come to you, may no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. So during this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbitiyo vajjantu sabbarogo vinassatu mate bhavattantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava ettavata ca ammi sampadam punya sampadam. Sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya, sabbe bhuta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya, sabbe satta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.